For anyone out there who's wrestled with those really big life questions, or maybe felt that ground shift underneath you when things you counted on suddenly seem less certain. You know that feeling, right? That profound unease. Like you're pushed to question everything, your purpose, where you're headed, what this whole existence thing is really about.
Yeah.
People often call it an existential crisis, and it sounds maybe abstract, but the feeling, it's incredibly real.
It really is. And those moments, of major disruption could be something global like we've all experienced, or deeply personal, a loss, a big change. They tend to force those questions right to the surface. Questions about meaning, choice, freedom.
Right.
It pushes you, like you said, into what feels like a crisis. Though maybe thinking of it as an existential awakening is helpful too.
An awakening, I like that. That definitely frames it more as an opportunity maybe, rather than just pure turmoil.
Exactly.
So that's what this deep dive is all about today. Coping with existential crisis. Because it really is this tangible feeling of unease about existence, purpose, the path you're on. And our mission for you today is to unpack some different ways of looking at this, of navigating this deep anxiety. We're going to pull from psychology, philosophy, even some historical examples.
Yeah, see how we can maybe turn these challenges into chances for growth, resilience, finding, a deeper sense of meaning.
Exactly. Get ready for some hopefully fascinating insights along the way.
So maybe let's start with defining it. What is an existential crisis, really? At its core, it's that deep discomfort, that unease you might feel about meaning, choice, freedom in your life.
Right.
And this feeling, it can make life seem kind of pointless, or maybe leave you feeling really confused about who you even are.
Yeah.
People often talk about this sort of divorce between our very human need for meaning, our longing for it, and, the universe's seeming indifference. It's unreasonable silence, as some philosophers put it.
Wow, unreasonable silence. That's a powerful image. And you really feel the weight of that silence when you're in it. So beyond that core unease, how does this crisis usually show up for people? What are the common symptoms?
Oh, it can manifest in a lot of ways, and often pretty intensely. You might feel really heightened anxiety or feelings of depression, maybe just completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
A sense of being isolated from others is common too. Or, a real lack of motivation, no energy, feeling lonely even if you're around people, and sometimes just constant obsessive worrying.
That sounds like a really heavy load to carry. What usually sparks this kind of deep questioning? Are there common triggers?
Yeah, often it's kicked off by a major life event or some kind of transition. Think about a big career change, maybe losing a job, or the death of someone close,
right?
Getting a serious diagnosis, or even hitting a milestone birthday, 40, 50, 65, experiencing something traumatic, having kids, getting married, getting divorced.
So big life shifts, basically.
Exactly. Things that shake the foundations of your life and make everything feel suddenly precarious.
It's definitely clear this isn't just like everyday worry, it's fundamental.
Yeah.
But what I find really interesting is how existentialist thinkers look at this anxiety. They don't always see it as a problem to be solved, do they?
No, not at all. That's a key point. For existentialists, this kind of anxiety isn't necessarily pathological, something to be, cured or eliminated. They actually see it as an unavoidable, even potentially constructive part of being human.
Constructive? How so?
Well, thinkers like Kierkegaard suggested that learning to be anxious in the right way is learning the ultimate lesson. It's about recognizing this anxiety, learning to live with it rather than trying to just stamp it out.
Yeah.
It can actually teach us really profound things about ourselves, about existence itself.
That's a complete flip. Instead of running from it, you lean into it, see what it has to teach you. And speaking of leaning into difficulty or maybe even meaninglessness, that leads us right to Albert Camus and his whole idea of absurdism. That really turns things on their head.
It really does. Camus saw absurdism as this fundamental clash, this tension between our deep-seated human need to find meaning and purpose and a universe that just seems, meaningless and indifferent to us.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of searching for answers in a place that doesn't seem to offer any.
Our sources had this great analogy, like imagine climbing a mountain, putting in all this effort for a glorious sunrise, and then just thick fog. Nothing.
Exactly. That clash between your expectation, your effort, and the indifferent reality that is the absurd.
And yet, even faced with that, we humans are just. We seem wired to crave meaning anyway, right? Even staring into that apparent void.
Absolutely. That drive is undeniable. And Camus's really crucial idea here is about a revolt against the absurd. He saw this as the only truly authentic way to respond.
Not despair, or what he called philosophical suicide.
Right. Not giving in to nihilism or just blindly adopting some prepackaged meaning system that denies your freedom. The revolt is about facing the absurd head on.
Okay, so tell us about the myth of Sisyphus, because that's the story he uses to really illustrate this, isn't it?
It is. It's the classic image. Sisyphus, condemned by the gods to push this huge boulder up a hill forever. Just as he gets near the top, it rolls back down and he has to start all over again.
Seems like the ultimate symbol of pointless, repetitive work.
Totally. But then Kansas drops that bombshell conclusion. One must imagine Sisyphus happy.
That line, it always stops you in your tracks. How can Sisyphus be happy? How does finding purpose in the struggle, not the outcome, change how we live?
It's a radical shift. It means the act itself, the pushing of the boulder, becomes the purpose.
Yeah.
By fully embracing that struggle, by accepting it, by choosing to engage with it consciously, that's where Sisyphus finds his meaning, his well-being.
So it's about living in the moment, focusing on the task, maybe even finding value in the effort itself.
Exactly. It's a rebellion against meaninglessness, not by finding some grand external purpose, but by creating significance within the act, within the struggle. The meaning isn't out there waiting to be found. It's in how you push the boulder.
So practically speaking, it's about finding significance in our everyday actions, maybe. The small things, the daily grind, and facing life's uncertainties with, resilience, maybe even a sense of humor about the absurdity of it all.
That's a great way to put it. It's incredibly empowering because it shifts the source of meaning from something external, maybe unreachable, to something internal, something you create moment by moment.
That's a powerful shift. Now, let's pivot a bit. Another figure who really wrestled with suffering and meaning, but from a very different context, was Viktor Frankl.
Ah, yes, Frankl. His work is just incredibly profound.
Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and of course, a Holocaust survivor. His experiences really shaped his ideas, didn't they? Logotherapy, his book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Absolutely. His work, Logotherapy, is all about helping people find meaning, even especially in the midst of extreme suffering. And Man's Search for Meaning, well, it's a testament to the power of finding purpose, even in the most horrific circumstances imaginable. His own survival, in many ways, validates his ideas.
And he coined this term, tragic optimism. It sounds like such a contradiction. Tragedy and optimism together. How does that work? How can that mindset help turn pain into something constructive?
It does sound paradoxical, doesn't it? But tragic optimism is basically a framework for resilience, for finding positive transformation, even when you're facing unavoidable suffering, what Frankl called the tragic triad of pain, guilt, and death.
The tragic triad, okay.
His core belief, drawn directly from his experiences in the concentration camps, was that suffering can lead to profound personal growth, real human achievement, but only if you approach it with the right attitude, the right understanding. It's not about pretending the suffering isn't real.
Wow.
It's about finding meaning despite it, or even through it.
Okay, so if we want to try and apply this, what are the core principles? You said there were 3.
Yes, 3 main pillars. The first is accept suffering as an opportunity for heroic achievement.
Heroic achievement. That sounds big.
It is, but it's about reframing. Seeing suffering not just as something to endure, but as a chance for a kind of rebirth, for meaningful positive change. Frankl even said, live as if you were living a second time and as though you had acted wrongly the first time.
Wow. That's intense. It forces you to think about your choices.
Right. It pushes you to shift your focus away from just your own pain and towards something larger, maybe dedicating yourself to your family or a cause or acts of service. He pointed to historical examples like Martin Luther staying to minister during the plague in 1527 when others fled.
So finding meaning beyond yourself.
Exactly. Frankl believed that this active search for meaning, especially when things are tough, can be a kind of spiritual journey that actually brings inner peace and even, paradoxically, happiness.
That's quite a challenge, shifting from feeling like a victim to being the hero of your own story, essentially. Okay, what's the second principle?
The second is channel negative emotions into motivation for positive change. Think about crises, like the recent pandemic times when normal sources of happiness might disappear and you're filled with fear, anxiety, maybe guilt.
Yeah, definitely felt that.
Frankl's advice is to take those feelings, fear, worry, shame, guilt, and actively convert them into fuel for positive action instead of just stewing in them.
Do something.
Yes. Actively appreciate the small things, fresh air, a sunset, music. Use your time constructively, learn something new, practice mindfulness, exercise, and crucially, reconnect with people. Renew relationships. Recognize, as the research also shows, that other people matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being grateful for the chances difficult times might present, maybe hidden opportunities. Avoid procrastination. Even embrace solitude not as loneliness, but as a chance for self-discovery. Start becoming your best self now.
Okay, actively transforming negativity. And the third principle, how does facing our own mortality fit in?
The third is, awareness of life's shortness makes you take responsibility for your life. Realizing life is finite can be incredibly motivating. It helps you focus on what really matters. Frankl believed this awareness could even save many lives by prompting responsible action.
How so?
He stressed that you, as a free individual, are the one who decides what to do with your life, especially at critical moments. You can't just push that responsibility onto the government or anyone else.
Right. Scott Peck also talked about how so many problems come from avoiding responsibility.
Exactly. And Frankl saw how a shared crisis, a common enemy like the pandemic, could actually unite people, foster a collective sense of responsibility, maybe even mark the start of a new era of, well, humble soul-searching.
It all comes back to facing reality squarely, taking ownership and choosing how to respond, how to move forward. This idea that real growth can come directly out of trauma and suffering. It's powerful.
It is, and it links directly to humanistic psychology, thinkers like Maslow and Rogers. Their whole thing was that we all have this innate potential for self-actualization, for becoming our true selves.
Right, pursuing our deepest yearnings.
And we have the resilience within us to live meaningfully, even with life's difficulties.
There's a great metaphor for this kind of transformation, isn't there? The hero's journey, drawing from Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell.
Ah, yes, the hero's journey. Campbell put it beautifully. A hero ventures forth from the world of common day into a region of supernatural wonder, and crucially, comes back from this mysterious adventure with the power to bestow boons on his fellow man.
So the difficult part, the descent into the abyss, facing those huge challenges,
Yeah.
it's not the end.
Not at all. It's seen as a necessary stage. It lays the groundwork for rebirth, for transformation, for coming back stronger, and maybe with wisdom to share. It's through the darkness that self-discovery often happens.
This really resonates with Friedrich Nietzsche too, doesn't it? His philosophy deeply influenced existential therapy. He was all about confronting struggle, embracing suffering as vital for growth.
Absolutely. Nietzsche's will to power, for instance, it's often misunderstood, but it's not really about dominating others. It's about self-mastery, internal strength, that creative force within you that lets you turn suffering into strength. It's about overcoming yourself.
And his idea of the Übermensch, the Overman, that's not about being superhuman, is it?
No, it's more of a challenge to conventional thinking, conventional morality. It urges you to create your own values, live authentically according to them, constantly strive to overcome limitations, societal norms, your own past self, become the author of your own life.
Taking charge of your own values. And then there's that really challenging thought experiment he proposed. Eternal recurrence.
Right, the question. Would you choose to live this exact life with all its joys and sorrows over and over again forever?
Oof. It really makes you think.
It forces you to ask, am I living a life that's truly authentic, purposeful, fulfilling? If the answer is no, or even maybe, well, it's a powerful call to change things, isn't it?
It absolutely is. A profound gut check. And it leads right into perhaps his most famous line, what does not kill us makes us stronger. Seeing suffering not just as pain, but as an opportunity for empowerment.
Now, what's interesting is how all these ideas, from existentialism with its focus on difficulty and maybe positive psychology with its focus on happiness and well-being, might seem worlds apart at first.
Yeah, you'd think they'd clash, right? One's about anxiety and meaninglessness, the other's about flourishing.
You would think. But actually, there's a surprising amount of common ground or real synergy when you look closer.
Really? Where do they connect?
Well, both fields fundamentally recognize how crucial meaning is for a good life. Both understand that acceptance facing reality, including the tough stuff, is key to resilience. Both value authenticity, living in line with your true self, and both stress the importance of individual freedom and responsibility in shaping your own well-being.
Okay, so they converge on some core human truths.
Exactly. And you see this in practice in therapies that integrate both perspectives, like Frankl's logotherapy, or mindfulness-based existential therapy, or positive existential psychotherapy. They weave these threads together.
That makes sense. So we've explored some really deep philosophical and psychological waters here. Let's bring it back to the practical. If someone listening is feeling that existential angst, what are some concrete things they can actually do?
Okay, practical steps. First off, journaling. Seriously, just writing down your thoughts, exploring them, it can bring amazing clarity, help you understand what your anxieties might be signaling about your life, your values, your connection to the world.
Good one. And connecting with others feels vital, especially when isolation is a symptom.
Absolutely crucial. Seeking support. Reach out to people you trust, friends, family. Sometimes just talking helps, but also ask them to reflect back to you what they see as your positive qualities. It can be incredibly grounding when you're lost in self-doubt.
Yeah, getting that outside perspective. What about managing those overwhelming feelings, the anxiety itself?
Meditation and mindfulness practices can be really powerful here. They help you observe your thoughts without getting swept away by them, break negative cycles, stop obsessive worrying. It cultivates self-awareness and acceptance of what is right now.
And given our chat about Camus and the absurd, maybe finding some humor.
Yes. Definitely find humor. Actively look for chances to laugh, even at life's absurdities. It doesn't make the pain disappear, obviously, but it can provide real relief, shift your perspective, and just make the chaos feel a little less heavy.
I love that. And this next one feels like the core message from a lot of what we discussed. Creating your own meaning.
That really is the liberating takeaway, isn't it? Life doesn't hand you a purpose on a silver platter. There's no instruction manual. But that means you are free and also responsible to define what matters most to you. You get to write your own script.
That's empowering. But what about when that freedom or the sheer absurdity of it all feels like too much? When it's overwhelming?
Yeah, that can happen. So for those times, it's important to balance absurdity with grounding. Use those mindfulness techniques, deep breathing, maybe just connect physically with the world around you, or have a meaningful chat with a loved one. Anything that anchors you in the present and fosters a sense of stability when you feel adrift.
Okay, grounding practices.
Yeah.
That's key. These strategies really pull together a lot of the wisdom we've touched on. Our sources also had these almost like guiding principles, a sort of song of life for facing challenges.
Yeah, things like,
Yeah.
don't just wait for things to get better. Actively make things happen. Really value your present moment. Live fully now.
Right?
Always look for interesting, engaging things to do no matter what your situation is. Practice gratitude. Be genuinely thankful for what you have. Keep striving to improve yourself.
Nurture your relationships, definitely.
Yes, actively build those connections. Take calculated risks sometimes. Seize the day. And just keep moving forward, even if it feels like you're crawling.
Believe in your vision, right?
Yeah.
Don't lose sight of your goals.
Yeah. Exactly. And seek strength. Find it within you, even when you feel weak. These aren't just nice ideas, they're active choices.
They're how you build that meaningful life day by day, informed by all these deeper insights we've been digging into. A life with fewer regrets.
Precisely. It's the practical application of embracing the struggle and creating your own meaning within it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to maybe sit with. That paradox, that the worst of time can also be the best of time. Think about how facing life's unreasonable silence, facing our freedom, maybe isn't this terrible burden we need to escape. Maybe it's actually an invitation.
An invitation.
Yeah. An invitation to create a life that is so truly yours, so full of your chosen purpose, that if you were asked that Nietzschean question, you'd actually choose to live it again and again. So maybe ponder this. How will your perspective on suffering and the meaning you decide to make from it ultimately shape your own unique human journey?